Sister Tracy from the Daughters of St. Paul joins us today on The Gist. Thank you, Sister, for being here with us.
Thanks for having me.
So tell us a little bit about who you are and what made you decide to become a nun.
As I tell people, I wasn't born a nun.
You weren't? Not with the veil? And
I know. It's not like the doctor said, Miss Ethel, you have a baby nun. No, I was raised in South Louisiana, Catholic, and the faith was part of our life, but it wasn't really like something that I felt connected to. Mm-hmm. But when I was a child, I was in an accident, and I remember in that moment of waking up out of surgery, feeling the presence of God very profoundly.
Wow.
And it's like God set in my heart a seed of his presence and of knowing that he loved me. And after high school and during high school, I really started to ask deeper questions. Mm-hmm. And I was trying different things like, do I want to be popular? Do I want to be cool? Do I want to be really, really smart? And what I found was that I was trying and striving to please people, mm-hmm. and it was exhausting. And I remember thinking, isn't there anything that lasts? And around that time, I started to pray. I started to develop a prayer life. As opposed to just saying prayers, mm-hmm. I was actually relating my life to the Lord. And in that, I could feel my desire starting to shift. And in that time, I decided not to go out with some friends because they were doing the same crazy things we always did.
Right.
And I was like, you know what? I don't feel like being an idiot right now. So I was like, I'm going to stay home. And I watched a movie that had a nun in the movie. Mm-hmm. For the first time, I thought, that's beautiful. Like, I was captivated by the mm-hmm. image, by the person. So I started researching, and then I met the Daughters of St. Paul, and here I am.
And the Daughters of St. Paul is such a great fit for you.
Yes.
The media nuns,
yes.
right? Tell us a little bit about that kind of charism.
Well, thankfully I met them because I tried visiting like the Carmelites, and I remember I put one toe into their monastery, and I was like, ooh, this is not for me. I'm a little too much of a talker. But our charism as Daughters of St. Paul is to be the presence of Paul in the world today. Mm-hmm. So Paul, really loving the Lord, being changed by his love, changed by his presence, he had to tell everybody about it. Yeah. And so we utilize whatever efficacious forms of media and communication we can. We use technology to share the gospel. So we started out as printers, as publishers, but we use all forms. So we do podcasts, we do music, we're on social media.
Yeah, so social media, you've mm-hmm. got an Instagram page,
yes.
which is a ton of fun. So tell us what you like to do there. You do some lettering, so that's part of what you're sharing there.
That's kind of how I started out. So my I'm like Sister T Letters, that's my handle. But I also started doing reels, which kind of was not exactly something I aspired to do.
Right.
Because I get caught in them. Like if I'm,
I know, me too.
It's like,
so
whoa.
Just briefly describe for people what they are, because some people are like,
yeah,
what's
it's these
reel?
little 7 to 10 second videos.
Right.
And they are just that. They're like little snips and snaps of people mm-hmm. speaking.
Right.
So, but I realized that there are things that people really want to go deeper, mm-hmm. but like you got to kind of catch them first.
Yeah.
And so I do guardian angel advice files. So there's a filter where I have wings.
Okay, I like that.
And I just kind of, share something that when I pray, I really feel close to my guardian angel. Mm-hmm. It's part of our spirituality to really pray and ask their intercession.
Sure.
And so sometimes I just picture like, what was my guardian angel thinking when I, did X, Y, or Z?
Right.
So that's kind of what that is. And it's humorous, mm-hmm. but it's all ways of just trying to be present on social media.
Right.
And to bring an awareness that, out there are women religious, Daughters of St. Paul, whose spirituality is to pray for people, who use technology, who read and who are listening to music, who mm-hmm. are involved in communication. And we also, that presence is to be also like a spiritual guide mm-hmm. and to say, God is real. and he loves you no matter where you are or what you feel. So that's the seed that we try to plant by our presence online.
That's so beautiful and so needed in social media, which is such a mess, right?
Yeah,
So people that are going on social media, oftentimes they're distracted, or it can turn into a big ego-building situation where someone's trying to build their presence online. Real quick, can you just share with us a little bit about how you do that, having this presence on social media, but also having this spirit of humility doing it?
Well, the thing for me is, humility is truth. And so I think as whatever we do, if we can portray ourselves authentically as we can, then that communicates something. And people realize, wow, she's not standing over me. She's right. She's a sinner just like me, but she's trying to follow Jesus, and she's trying to do her best to live a Christian life in the midst of everything that we're dealing with. And sometimes I do escape into social media, but the Lord is calling me to live in reality. Humility is truth. The truth is what's in front of me. So how can I live there?
That's so beautiful, so very needed. So where can people find you online?
Well, we're the Daughters of St. Paul. You can find us on all social platforms. Our website is pauline.org. And for me, I'm most active on Instagram. So it's Sista, SISTAH, underline TEE letters.
All right, Sista T letters. You heard it here on The Gist. Thank you so much for sharing with us here today, sister.
Thanks for having me.